because so much has happened. I mean, when I tell y'all, our cousin chat has been blowing up. Some of us have been extremely triggered. Okay,
we coming for Carlos' head.
Scenarios.
Yeah, I need to talk to Carlos now because it's getting very.
Okay, Carlos King. Listen, for those who don't know, listeners, Carlos King was an amazing executive producer for most of the earlier seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta. He also did Real Housewives of New Jersey. Seasons. And now he has his own shows on the Oprah Winfrey Network.
He's basically his own at this point.
Right.
He's
so
Mr.
All of the Love and Marriage franchise is actually his franchise. So when we say Carlos, we're talking about the creator, right?
Mr. King.
Mr. King. He also has his own podcast, which a lot of us are avid listeners. We like to
we raindrops. We raindrops too.
We raindrops too, Carlos. Listen, I just listened to the one, he had from Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm a little, I don't know. Sonia, that's another one for another day. We can talk about that.
I have not watched in about 3-4 weeks, so I
can't. And you haven't missed anything.
So I know I haven't.
Nothing.
You've missed nothing. Real Housewives of Atlanta.
I can tell because I listen to the reviews, on YouTube and stuff, and I'd be like, I'm glad I didn't waste my time.
It's no fun watching.
It's like made up storylines. We're missing the real friendships.
Exactly what it feels like.
The organic, I miss the Phaedras and my girl Portia because they was real friends. Freaking frat. I miss the Nene.
Or even Candy and Phaedra.
Candy and Phaedra was the realest friends from the whole show.
So Peach Report, for those who don't follow, Peach Report, I love them because they've been showing past clips. And they had
it's been hilarious.
Nene reading Claudia to filth. And when I tell y'all, I was on the floor to this day. Still, some of her scenes, I was just with.
Man, you know what y'all need to do? I've been doing this. You need to go on Peacock and you need to just watch reunions. I've been watching season 1 reunion. Season 2 reunion, season 3, Nene and Phaedra going back and forth about not knowing each other and who older. Do y'all y'all need to go back? It was reality TV gold. Phaedra representing Sheree in the
and then losing,
and Bob represented himself.
Won.
He represented himself. You can't make this up.
Used to be so good. The Sheree, and we still got, the She by Sheree where she was going at it with. We got classic.
Check me, boo.
Classic.
And I feel like now we're back to where they have just added random people. Yes. Right. Yeah. They're starting to do what they do with the other franchises of just adding random people and hoping they click and connect, and they're not connecting.
Yeah.
As much as I love Marlo's name, I'm still think Marlo didn't need a peach. I think she still needs to be a friend of.
Who else was going to get
she has no story.
She has no storyline, or she's just really getting into it with everybody. And here's the thing: I'm tired of Candy now. Unless Candy is activated,
I'm tired of her and Kenya.
I don't need her.
They give nothing to the show.
Candy was only good when she was having family problems, and I'm just
we're tired of those family problems.
Yeah, we over
Mama Joyce. Mama Joyce was my girl. Okay, I loved the.
You like Stormy Mama?
No, we gonna get to that. Okay, all right.
How you like
back to Love and Marriage? Let's go Love and Marriage. Well, guys, so we have another episode that we're going to do specifically on Real Housewives and just catching
all the headlines.
So today, it is all about love and marriage. And I just, I was joking in our thread, but I was like, man, can we just call this episode "Let's Stay Together"? Because I just feel like.
Everybody
in the reality universe,
everybody needs a divorce.
Everybody, everyone is screaming divorce, and I'm like,
this he not even in it. But y'all heard Billy Porter getting a divorce from his dude?
I did see
everybody
that.
getting a divorce.
Literally, it ain't just reality. It's everybody.
Now they're saying
randomly.
Vergara and Joe Manganiello and
Kevin Costner and his wife.
Everybody's divorcing. It's just the time. It's the time.
Folks having hot girl summer. It's gonna be cold winters. That's all.
It's cold.
Cause it ain't nothing in them streets. Y'all need to figure it out. But within that, so let's get into what we couldn't wait to talk about. Okay, so Mandy read y'all the headlines before the show came out for Love and Marriage Detroit.
No. We need to start with Huntsville. No, we need to start with Huntsville.
Yeah, we need to start with Huntsville.
Because we got get them out the way.
Or do we want to get Monique them out the way?
Yeah, we talking about divorce.
We just hit up divorce. So, all right. So it also came out, and I guess I'm just really frustrated with Monique. Let me just say, I was a huge fan of hers when she was on Real Housewives of Potomac. She was a winner, and she went out with a bang.
I was gonna say she had the best housewife reunion, the best reunion,
and she said, "And I'm not coming back." And had us wanting more.
And I don't need
the
to.
best reads and
my man got all the money. I don't need your little chicks. And that was just little chicks. Yeah, man.
Solid family. Giselle kept trying to read her, and she was like, "Actually, I have multiple houses. Thank you. Which one you want to know about?"
She got redemption too in this last year's reunion with Candace.
She told her
everybody. When she left that season, everybody was saying, "Oh, I can't believe you behaved that way. You put your hands on that girl and all this different stuff, and you was wrong. But then in this last season, when we saw how Candace was behaving, then they turned on her and was like, actually, Monique wasn't wrong. Exactly. So she got redemption. I mean, she didn't really care about it, but still, she got redemption.
But I feel like it was more to the story with that. I feel like the issue was Giselle them never liked Candace. They just hated Monique.
Absolutely.
They just hated Monique.
About Candace. And that's what Candace messed up. It ain't about you.
She chose the wrong team. That's what Monique went out telling her, like, now get back in when they do this to you. Now, when they do this to you and your man and your marriage.
Yeah.
And what did they do? Yeah. Sexual assault allegations and uncomfortableness.
All kind of stuff.
Because Giselle just can't let nobody's relationship be happy. But that's,
but I mean, later. I mean, we saw the cracks in not Candace, Monique and Chris's marriage with the mama, and the mama said you need to work, and and she always said she never felt hurt by him, and I just feel like a lot of these women use these reality shows as like their like lifeline of like, I feel like something in my marriage not gonna work, and I need to make something of myself.
Yes,
before this goes bad. Yep. Because all of these women getting on her with these, like, I can't name like maybe 2 relationships that actually. The only one that's not problematic is Saya and her man. That's probably why she boring. I mean, to be honest, on that
she talked about it on Carlos's podcast. They've had their issues, but one
thing a little problematic.
I just want to say he ain't never at home. But one of
they a little problematic.
That's the problem. She just said that he got another business. But
do y'all think that women really like come? It makes me think of, I don't know if y'all remember like early seasons of Beverly Hills.
Yes,
Kelsey Grammer. He knew the interview, and he said this was my divorce gift. Like
gift
this
to
was
her.
my here. You got your own star now. You got your own.
Do what you need to do. Yes.
Do you think these women are like knowing that I'm on the outs with my man for real? I don't think it's gonna work, but I need to make something of myself. And Housewives is the place to do it. I mean,
actually, Tanya brought that up. Like, she brought that up in the interview with Carlos, where she was like, people keep saying like the reality TV is a kiss of death for your marriage.
It's not.
But to be honest, it's not. People already know there were issues in their relationships before they get on there. Yep. And yes, it does create a microscope for people to like have opinions about it.
Yeah.
But she was like, no, it's not a kiss of death if you have a solid marriage. Yeah, and most people who agree to go on here know that they got some things.
They got some jacked up mess going on.
Exactly. And to your point, Mandy, I do think a lot of times, which is why it's called Real Housewives, is more of the women who don't really have a career established.
Yes.
And so getting out of that relationship, they know they're going to need something to put food on the table. And, like Teresa keeps saying, and, even though she's a long-standing housewife, she's like, I do this to put food on the table for my kids. Like, out of my divorce, she said, I don't even want to ask my new husband for money. Like, this is for me to be independent, to build my own empire. And I think a lot of them go into it thinking that if they have longstanding careers as a Real Housewife. But in this scenario, I don't know. I think Monique, I'm really disappointed because I loved the scenes that from Potomac that showed the family dynamic, showed all the little weird animals they had.
She just never seemed happy though. She's never seemed happy or fulfilled by that man. Like since the beginning. Yeah. It was always her status. It was always, this man gives me money and fame and status. Houses. But when
you felt like it was lacking love,
like when you saw them interacting with each other, it would be him. Like she was a real housewife. Like, my man expects me to do everything for him. He does nothing, and I'm stuck at home with these kids all day. That was really her life. Yeah. So she's never been happy with him. When she started doing those spiritual journeys, and I'm going to Africa and I'm going to Costa Rica and I'm meditating.
Chakras, girl.
Well, we saw that in Love and Marriage DC.
Yes, let's talk about it.
When they started really showing their relationship and how they spoke to each other.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was problematic.
I mean, and not just in private, in public.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like, whoa, like, you know,
it's what really is going on.
He appears to be very mild mannered. So when you saw him, you know, getting a little rowdy, it's like, wait a minute,
and that big old man coming at you crazy.
Yeah, it seemed a bit problematic. But she also she on Love and Marriage DC, she appeared to be problematic. She was in a lot of the problems. She's a lot of the problem in a lot of those situations. And it's like, is this who you are? Or is this what you're doing because you know that this is what's needed for the show?
No, I truly think that Love and Marriage DC backfired for her in a million ways, because she was the first housewife to leave and not get fired. Like, that's the thing that people get misconstrued. Bravo did not fire her. She actually is like probably the only housewife that actually quit.
Just left,
like, and then Carlos gave her a show, like, first time. Like, no other housewife has done that either.
But we got to talk about that for a minute, because he also said
she's a problem.
That she lied about her contract. And he said that she was out of the contract with Bravo.
And she
then found out. So part of the reason why she couldn't come on that second season was she kept saying they ain't figured out my contract. No, they found out that she still had obligations to Bravo. So
they wanted her to do Ultimate Girls Trip. Yeah, Andy was talking about that. Like, Andy loved Monique. Like, if
but it's more than that, Mandy. Like, she still was under contract. She lied and said she wasn't under contract anymore.
But that's also
still was under contract with Bravo,
because you need to get lawyers. Like,
how did you even know that? Yeah, how did they know that?
And how did you do a first season? That it's not added
up. Carlos, we got some questions, because why didn't you double check that?
Carlos need to get checked a lot of times too.
Yeah,
because how did he know that? He just jumped.
How did reality is you just took her word for it, or did you like have lawyers? Like, he saw an opportunity. And
I feel like that's part of the reason why I feel like Love and Marriage DC didn't take off until this season, because it was so trying to revolve itself around like being a Potomac, like I don't know, like a spinoff of Potomac, when it should have been about the actual like couples that it actually has become. And I just feel like it's hard for Carlos to, I don't feel like he should do another Love and Marriage where there's a housewife franchise, because it just seems like
he needs to go other cities.
It's almost like a B-side show too.
Exactly.
Because you got Ashley in the cast, like she wanted to be on Potomac. She almost got cast to be on Potomac. Ashley Silva did, and like they all like Karen's birthday party and stuff like that. It's just
it's too much crossover.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't like the crossovers.
Yeah, that's why he needs to stay in like a Detroit, a Huntsville, like. Give us news stories. Like,
I think he only picked DC
because of Monique.
It was because of Monique. The whole thing was geared around, here's this housewife that everybody loved. She ate. And I know that this is going to get people watching this show.
And it did. It did first season. It did. And then everybody realized, like,
oh, she is a problem.
And they asked her at the reunion, they were like, did you get on this show to set up your divorce? That was a reunion question for Monique and Chris.
So let's talk about the divorce, because I hate how they kept saying, no, we're not getting divorced.
It's the separated thing. It's just like Kyle and Mauricio.
And then they filed. And it's just like, so you were literally divorcing.
Well, it reminds me of what Ashley said. Like the law in DC is different. Like you do have to be legally separated for like a year before you can, file for divorce in DC. So it could be that. I don't know,
but you could say that you're separated and we intend to file after the obligated separation period is over.
Right.
Yeah.
Not because if you just say you're separated and we're working on our marriage, that means
it seems like you're getting back together.
They're figuring it out.
Or you just lying like Ashley and never gonna file. But that's
Ashley not divorcing.
First of all, we all knew when they bought that house together.
Prenup. Once they said that she ain't getting no money in that prenup,
she ain't filing.
She gonna get back with him because she thought her money was laid and she ain't trying to be.
We gonna all live in this house.
Absolutely.
But I definitely saw Monique divorcing Chris. I never thought she was happy with him. Wow. That mama might have been crazy, but she ain't never tell a lie.
But see, mamas be knowing.
That's what I'm saying. That mama might have been out of line, but she ain't never told not one lie about. That girl was. You could look at the scenes with them together. She was never happy with that man. It was always a. Chris wants me to do this. Chris wants me to it was never. I just love my
Can I be honest? I think she was okay with playing the backseat as long as he was an NFL player. And I think once that he decided to get out of it, and she still realized she had to do everything, then it was like, what am I doing this for? And now, now that you home, we beefing more, we're fighting more. Now you don't want me to have as much help. Now you having comments about how I'm parenting. Now you having comments about how I do X, Y, and Z and get the kids here and there. When it was all on me before this. And so a lot of people have transitioned.
Yeah.
So I can see where there was some turmoil.
I just can't fathom though. I can't fathom being with somebody for that long. And then
that's me. I think y'all need to figure it out and work it out. Y'all been together this long. Y'all been doing life together this long.
Man,
ain't nobody had no infidelity. What are we talking about here? Y'all need to go to therapy and y'all need to really truly work on the marriage, and not just say you working, but doing the work to save your marriage, because I don't think it was worth them
throwing away 20 years or however long.
That's ridiculous.
I just think it's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Right. And then what life you think you finna live? All right, look at Tia. Tia looks sad still. She divorced that man. She still looks sad. Tia Mowry out here doing all these dang on TikToks.
I had to unfollow her. I had to unfollow the lady. I had to unfollow the lady.
You still have no peace because you divorced a man in your life that you have known since y'all were
just to do it. I feel like they just be doing it just to do it.
And now understanding that there truly was no infidelity, you just probably had some disagreements with some things. Fix it.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Fix it.
Or he could have been when the man. He could have been when the man was like, "I'm not going to therapy. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to counseling."
That's true.
So when you have that situation,
then ain't no fixing it.
Yeah, I can't say. I can't. What I would do.
I can't stay. Especially if you're not happy.
That's when you pray on your marriage. Jesus, change his mind, Lord.
Or change. Or you do what Mel said. Jesus said go.
So Jesus said go.
God said go.
God said go.
Then let's get into that. Let's get into Huntsville. Because
but you know what, life is too short. So I'm with you.
Marla, Huntsville has, I will say, the topic of divorce has definitely. I just don't even know what to say. I feel like with Huntsville, and this is a criticism that a lot of people are giving Carlos, is he be having so much to say about stale storylines, about somebody lying, about somebody not getting along. He say that about all the Real Housewives, but your show still talking about Mel and Martell beefing with each other, and your cast is still acting like they don't understand why this woman don't want to be in a room with a man that's suing her for full custody of her children. I don't understand how they just think that Mel is supposed to say, "Oh, it's for the community. You're not gonna pay me. You're gonna charge me $100. It's not gonna."
And I gotta deal with my ex after we just had a court case.
Just had a court case.
And have y'all heard allegedly that there may
Ariane,
be there may be some revenge.
We have
porn.
to talk. We have to talk.
So baby mama, so baby mama's still baby mommy because she's still mad that man ain't with her. That you still attacking me and I ain't even his recent chick. I've been gave him back to the streets. Exactly. Why you still got a bone to pick with me?
Matter of fact, Mel said I gave him to you and and you still mad. I gave him to you.
He still ain't out with you.
He
still not out with you.
Still ain't out with you.
Still ain't get chose.
What you mad at me for? What you mad at me for?
The problem that I have, so for listeners who don't know this storyline, very quick summary. Mel and Martell, they met in college. They had been longtime sweethearts, got married, was married for 17 years. Mm-hmm. At that time, 3 beautiful babies. And then she found out that not only was he cheating on her, the first time he admitted he cheated on her, she went ahead, of course, she stepped away for a minute, but then she accepted him back. She then gets pregnant. Mm-hmm. And she's like, we're working on our marriage, we're fixing it. To then find out he never let this woman go that he's been dealing with for 4 years. And she also was pregnant as well. Mm-hmm. That was her final straw. And so she decided to get a divorce. What's really sad about this couple is they were a power couple. So they had a lot of businesses together.
But we found out it was one-sided. It was lopsided.
I know. She was the face of the business. She had most of the licenses. So they're developers. They got real estate. I mean, they were really thriving. They were 2 people who a lot of people looked up to for a marriage component and from a business component. So this unfolds on the show. And I think people forget, to Mandy's point, although it's not new to us anymore, it's still real time for Melanie, like, to see the betrayal in her face. Yes. Every single time she deals with this man. So it's like, I don't know how I would feel being married to somebody that long to where you've been lying to me for 4 to 5 years, not even messing with a whole bunch of women. But with just this one. Same woman telling me that I'm delusional,
and that's worse.
And then and me and her are literally sisters out here pregnant at the same time. You've embarrassed me beyond anything that I could ever experience, and so I'm out. And so, I mean, there is some bitterness that comes with that, because how can you not be bitter? How can you not be angry? And that's then for those who take up for him, so then you also have, you know, the friends in the show,
the whole friend group,
friends, and they all seem to be championing Martell.
He's a good guy. He helped me across the street.
He do this. I can figure it out. Weird. What do you figure it out? Would you be figuring it out if your husband betrayed you in that kind of way? It's like, she's lost so much disrespect for everyone in the cast. It's unfortunate that the show was built around her, but I do think it's time for her to go.
I agree. And I agree now.
And it's not just for Melanie, because
I was anti that, but I got to the point now where I'm like,
and Martell needs to go, because
they can't but to center it around them. And it's like,
it can't be centered around them anymore. And that's they can't even talk about the stuff that's really happening because it's a court case. So you can't. So they're not gonna. But honestly,
I don't even want to know. Like
I don't. It involves children.
It involves children. A and B. We just been at this. I don't want to know no more. I don't. I get it.
Yeah.
So I was a little disappointed at the court case, and I'm sure there's more to it. Me and Darian had a long conversation
let's talk about how y'all felt about what she said.
But I feel like, so it sounds like all of their testimonies from their witnesses, everyone sided with Melanie. But what really hurt her, and I kind of understand where the judge is coming from. Martell, she stopped giving him his phone number. So because of that, Melanie violated a huge portion of that agreement. Yeah. In other words, if the kids are with you, he should be able to have contact with the kids. It's not about you. Everything in family court is about the kids. So even though you want to separate, like you're feeling like you're being harassed, or you ain't got no restraining order against that man.
Right. That's the problem.
If it was serious, then it was like, then you should have filed something. out, we could have figured something out. But you can't just not give him a phone number. Get a burner phone and only give him that phone.
Exactly.
Like you can't just say I'm not in any contact with him at all. Once you chose to lay with this man, unfortunately, and that was your husband, y'all got kids. There's no such thing as I'm done with you. You'll never be done as long as y'all have kids and y'all have lots of them. So I think Melanie is in real time, just like
young kids too,
really emotional. You know,
because
really
I think he's doing this so he can get child support. It's not because he's broke. No. Okay, let's be real.
He asked her to pay for his
lawyer fees, and he the one that's suing her
for the motion. Only thing my lawyers did was said, "Okay, you want to go to court? Let's go to court today." Yeah, that's the only thing that Melanie's lawyers said. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna take me to court? We're not gonna keep letting this linger." Because I also want to change my last name, and the only way I can change my last name is if I ain't got no pending court cases. So I'm gonna file a motion to let's go.
Going right deeper, he's so even more like a lot of the things that's happening behind the scenes is why we're never gonna get a closure or anything good. This man also filed bankruptcy so that everything that they had in both of their names will fall under her. So then that caused her to then have
had to file
bankruptcy too.
So I can't
like that man is so evil. He is
like
evil.
It's a nightmare. I can't. But it's to the point where now it's like I feel like I'm watching like a bus like drive into something. Like I'm tired. It's getting to a point now where it's taking over the show. I don't know if this cast can carry the show on without them either, though. So that's the other thing. So let's talk about the other stuff that's going on outside of, okay. So let's
talk about Kimmy and
let's hit Maurice and Kimmy because I'm disappointed in Mr. Maurice.
No, let me say this. It takes a lot in me to say this.
That man trash.
But the fact that this man has been hiding under the radar this long as being the worst to me. Martell is a lot of things. Martell is terrible, but that man Maurice is the worst type of.
He's worse than Marceau
ever.
He is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Kimmy knew what she was signing up for. Let's talk about it.
And I think she low key was a side chick.
Okay. So that's all speculation though. But what I am gonna say is and Shay, this is a trigger for you, so we're gonna let you talk.
It's not a trigger.
Okay, it's not a trigger, but
it's not a trigger, but it is a conversation point. It's a conversation point.
Yeah, we're talking blended families, and so we want your perspective on this. My thing was Kimmy said she talked to Maurice before they got married. And said, I know you want this boy here, but I've already raised my son.
Hello.
And I also know how you like to work. And I know how you don't like to come home. Yeah. I don't want you to think that I'm going to be raising your son for you.
Yeah.
So if he comes here, you are agreeing that you're going to be present and you are going to be the one to raise him. Because my son is raised. He's done.
Grown.
Fast forward to today, we're seeing him have conversations with her. Like, I don't understand like why you can't X, Y, and Z. And she's like, that's not my responsibility. It's not that I don't love him. It's I told you from day one that I'm not doing this. This is you and Kiowa's son.
Worst type of man. Woo.
Well, and he's like, well, isn't that your kid too? Yes, he is.
And he tried to guilt trip her and gaslight her into making like it's almost like he wants her to say out loud, "That's your son." Yes. So then she can now become the villain, and now he's not responsible for anything. And
so I don't. Did y'all? Well, so I don't know if y'all watched the TGIF on Fox Soul.
I didn't
interview. Okay, so
enlighten us, please.
He's been getting all this flack for what he said about him needing sex, even though she's not in the mood, because of her cancer treatment. Rightfully so.
She's not in the mood,
because of her cancer treatments. She hasn't been in the mood, and then for just some of the stuff that's happened on the show. Mm-hmm. So he had an opportunity in that interview. To really defend his point and defend his wife. Mm-hmm. And he did not. He made it worse. But because of Kimmy being the strong woman that she is,
I can't stand her to be that strong.
She defended him and made it sound so much better than what it really was. And it made me so mad because I'm like, no, Kimmy, no. Like
if she was not in that interview, they would have ripped him to shreds.
They would have ate him up, as they should have. In the last episode of the show, she made this point, and I understood exactly what she said. She said, I'm the one that takes all the hits. Monster gets protected, as he should, because he's the kid. Kiowa gets protected. You know, Maurice gets protected, but I'm the one that doesn't get protected. And so to the world, it looks like I'm the side chick and I'm taking all the hits, and me and my son are taking the hits
he has
for you and your family. And that's not always the best thing. So I don't think I've discussed on the show, but you always hear me talk about my girls. So my oldest daughter is not biologically mine. She's my husband's daughter from his first marriage. So we have been co-parenting for 9 years now. Not as much now because she's 19. So it's like, you know, whatever. Yeah, she grown. So we don't have to worry about it as much anymore. But, you know, for the majority of our marriage, we've had to co-parent. And it is not always the easiest. It was not always the easiest thing. Because we have to remember that the most important person, pride aside, is the child.
Facts.
Right. You know, we have to think about whatever I feel, whatever you feel, whatever is the child is the most important thing. And that's not always the easiest thing to do, because we all have strong feelings about what we feel is right. And I think what Maurice doesn't understand is that when you are not the parent, the biological parent, you have to take a side where you're kind of the referee, because you don't have you have a different perspective, because you don't have invested feelings, right? Exactly. You weren't in that relationship with these two people, so you don't have invested feelings, right?
Yeah.
You know, you got divorced for a reason. So, you know, y'all got feelings for whatever.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of referee the situation. And also understanding this. Monster lived with his mother for the first, I don't know, let's say 13 years 16, of his life.
14, 15
of his life. Not saying that Maurice was not an active parent, not saying that at all. But he primarily lived with his mother for the majority of his life.
And you can see the relationship, and I'm gonna leave it.
And that relationship is strong.
It's very strong.
And then he moved across the country to live with his father and his
never there
girlfriend, who he kind of sort of knows, but he doesn't really know. Now you are asking the son to be comfortable with this person who he does not really know and look at her as a mother figure, which is not fair to him or her.
Yeah.
And then also you are asking Kimmy to 100% be the mother.
Yeah.
And that is not fair to her.
Shay, you spelled that. You just brought it out, man.
It's not fair to her, because she is building a relationship with this child. Not saying that she hasn't spent time with him. That's not saying that she doesn't love him, but it is different. Okay. The respect level is different. All of it is different. The emotional level is different. And it has to be earned. It's not just going to be given. So when she says things like clean up the room and Maurice doesn't back her up, it's like, I ain't going to do it because I got to listen to you.
My daddy,
you just my daddy girlfriend, my daddy wife. You know, you're not really, you know, I
got a mama.
To you. Yeah, I got a mama.
Yeah.
A strong somebody who I'm very close to.
Yeah.
So it's a different type of thing. And Maurice has to be that catalyst to really build that relationship. And he is just an absentee parent.
He's not.
He's an
he don't even know his kid. He don't even know his kid.
He doesn't know his kid. And he also is just not respectful of his wife. Like, you are just asking too much. He's asking too much of her as a person, especially because you're not protecting her. You are not putting.
And then, like, how did y'all feel? I was about to come through the screen when he was like, "You still ain't figured out your stuff with Kiowa. I'm gonna set up a meeting right now. I'm gonna set up right now for y'all to meet with Kiowa." And she's just sitting here looking at him like,
"You fool!
That's not my responsibility. You are the one that needs to meet with Kiowa."
But no, that's what I said. He's using her as a scapegoat. So what he does?
That was the problem.
Yeah, what he does with Kimmy is like, okay, this the meeting. Kiowa kind of looking at me away because she probably know that my son not rocking with me. Kimmy sitting right here, so I'm gonna distract this. And
Kimmy know my son ain't rocking with me.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna distract this whole situation and say the real problem is that we're not moving as a family unit because you have unresolved feelings with her.
When exactly, really, it's always somebody else.
And Maurice, you the one that should have shut down all the side chick rumors. It shouldn't have been Kiowa.
It shouldn't even have been Kiowa.
I'm your ex-wife. What I gotta tell the world that Kimmy wasn't your side chick for? What they gotta do with me?
Here's the problem, though, and I'm with Kimmy in one thing. Me and Kimmy are very similar in this sentiment. You're not going to imply, though. You came on TV. The first time the TV even saw you was you coming out on a reunion saying that I was portraying as side chick and that y'all marriage wasn't done until I came in, and you insinuated. You may not have
if it was the
truth? Me a side chick, but you insinuated that it was.
But what if it was the truth?
So then they do got something they need to talk about, because here's the thing. If you're going to perpetuate this rumor, then we need to talk, because we need to settle down and say, hey, now when Kimmy explained it, and I do understand Kimmy's perspective, y'all had already filed. Now you claim you were still trying to fight for your marriage. Mm-hmm. He was done. We started dating when y'all filed. They were not fully divorced. She did admit they were not 100% divorced. They had just filed the paperwork.
But my problem with Kimmy, she tell different stories to different people.
Oh man,
there's a story where she's like, I sought out Maurice to cut my son's hair.
Yes,
I heard about
that. She was going to the barber shop every time Jalen
she sound like that girl. Hair. So that's why she ain't saying nothing, because she got what she deserved. If you was that girl that was after that man while he still had a wife, then you deserve everything that is coming to you.
And I think that's also part of the reason why she rise to him so hard, is because I wanted this man. I saw after this man.
I think she was questioning it too, though, because at the time he was living in Huntsville, but Kiowa was living in Michigan or wherever she was.
Because he had moved in with his brother or something.
Yeah, so it's like, you got a wife and you down here and she up there. Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah.
I mean, don't make it
right.
right.
Thought it was the green light. And,
she probably thought it was
after
cool.
That man, and he was cutting
hair. And you know how men be. I'm not even gonna joke.
And that's
men will be like, well, clearly, we just waiting.
We not together.
Paperwork. We're not together. We done.
And he could have been pillow talking with Kiowa, like, we gonna figure it out. We gonna fix it.
That's what men do.
Yeah, that's what I thought about.
Yes.
In this whole situation, what I really want to know and what I would love to hear from is Jalen. What does he think about Maurice? Because
he don't like that man.
I would think he would not have very much respect for him.
They used to get into earlier seasons. Remember?
They did. I would love to hear from him. But okay, so I will give.
Kimmy has a different parenting style too. Like if you like how she raised Jalen, she was very.
Yes, she was a black mama. Like
she was a black mama.
Yeah,
okay.
And she like, I'm done being that. And
she was a single parent at that too. There's a whole different thing that comes with that. And what she's saying is, look, being a single parent,
I did it all. I did it.
My son is raised. What you not finna do is have me feel like I'm gonna be a single parent again because you don't want to be
and I'm married to you.
Yes,
you can't. Like when Maurice was saying, I spend time with him. I drive him to school.
That made me want to cry. That made me want to cry for him.
But no, you just. Did y'all see that little boy face?
He was the one
he was talking to him.
I'm sorry. I feel like
I'm
they need to put him in therapy. That little boy is showing signs of depression to me.
They should have probably put him in therapy from the beginning. Like
when he
very first came to live with Maurice, they should have put him in therapy. Just simply because you cannot live with one parent and then for your whole life.
Him away.
And then you put him in a whole new environment immediately. and
I also why he acting out.
I also kind of blame Kiowa a little bit for this too, because
why
her comments throw me off too. Like maybe,
but why would she even agree to it? Is my problem.
Yeah, because she's married.
I thought they were moving to Huntsville or something. It was like a season or two ago that Kiowa was like, "I'm moving to Huntsville." So what happened there?
Carlos.
I'm blaming.
We need some more. We need some more because, but I still wouldn't. I don't know. I'm a parent of, although it may have been hard. Kiowa, you got a husband. Okay,
you have a husband.
He didn't need to leave. I would have fought Maurice and said, "Look, this is the pivotal age." For my child's development.
That's probably why they wanted him to go there to be with his dad. Like he's becoming a man.
But he has no relationship with him, so how is he gonna learn from his
dad?
But
that's what happens. That's what happens.
I've seen that happen when they get of like teenage age. Women send their sons to live with their dad because the dad makes control.
That's what happens.
It makes sense.
But when you don't have a relationship with your son, it's tricky.
Exactly. That's where it becomes difficult. If you're going to do something like that, then let's talk about doing some summers. Like, first. You need to spend the summers down there first. Because even when in this last episode, when they were playing basketball, and he says, we grew up differently. I had 2 jobs and Marcel had 3 jobs. You don't have to do that. But see, isn't that our job as parents is for us to do better so our kids don't have to work as hard?
They want to guilt trip you about
it. That's our job.
You better preach.
Like, I mean, it is.
What was somebody saying? I think I was listening to the read, and they was like, they were talking about Russell Simmons and his kids, and he was like, "Look, I put my kids through private school," and they was laughing because they like, given the amount of wealth that you are, that is a minimal expectation of you as a parent to put them in private school. How much money y'all make? That's like
I think that's a generational thing. I think it's a generational thing. I think that generation of people that work hard. This is all we know. So this is all, and they don't care about mental health. Like as a parent, your son telling you, "I don't even know who I am, buddy. So how am I going to tell you who I am?" Nobody
was listening.
And that's
nobody. I think Kimmy understands exactly what Monster's saying, and she's trying to get Maurice to, but Maurice is so dumb.
Yeah,
he just can't even.
Well, you know what? I don't think he's dumb. I don't think Maurice is dumb. I think he's lazy.
He's toxic. I think Maurice is toxic.
He don't want to deal with it. It's just
he wants to look.
I'd rather wake him up at 4 a.m. to pick up bricks and go around and run around, thinking that's going
like that. That's
going to break him mentally.
Was like,
he's lazy.
Like, I don't think that's doing. I don't know what that's doing for him or you. Having to get up at 4 a.m.
You get to play and be a drill sergeant when your kid is literally screaming for help from a mental.
Literally.
I mean, and let's not also forget, Monster had, first season of what's her name coming on there that I'm still trying to figure her out. We'll see her in a minute.
Tiffany.
Tiffany. But that whole altercation where she was like, Monster was vaping, and he's really been acting out for a while, and it's like no one is trying to figure out.
His daddy's so stupid to me.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's easy to see, and maybe it's because I am a co-parent, whatever you want to call it. But it was very easy for me to see. It is very clear that boy is crying out for help. It is. He needs counseling,
and hopefully his mama knows him too.
Some counseling. His mama, and hopefully we can stop with the toxic masculinity. Like, not saying he can't be a strong black man.
That's a family trait.
Yeah, that's through the whole family, child. That's that whole family. That's never going to end. And I'm tired of them Scott men. Like, it's sad to me that this man. Like, it's sad to me now that Marceau is the number 1 guy in the group right now.
He's still not to me.
Barely.
I mean, let's talk about it.
So
let's get into it. So let's get into the expo. What we're not gonna do is act like he ain't gaslit his wife. We ain't gonna forget about Marcel's earlier seasons of him gaslighting his wife on how he's had several situations with other women.
He was saying he's number 1, but we saying he's the best of the worst.
Of the worst of them. Like, how on Vanderpump Rules, Jackson them used to like argue, like, I'm the number 1 guy in the group, and none of them is like, that's what
they trash. Everybody trash.
That if we're comparing the trash, that Marceau is the least trash. Like,
and we thought he was a villain. Doc Maurice.
No, he still is a villain. He's still a villain,
but
all of them are villains. Is what we finding out. These men, man,
they trash.
They are
sheep's clothing, baby.
Yeah, I don't know, but okay, so we gotta go to the expo.
Okay,
and this will be the last portion that we talk about with.
It's not.
Huntsville.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
We got one more. We got the baby conversation because I really
cool.
I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Oof. Okay, so let's talk about like the expo. First of all,
ghetto.
It looks hella ghetto. I was just like, I was cringing in my boots just from. Okay, so let's talk about it. I'm sorry. It takes Stormy, who shows up
with a whole.
Y'all want to pop up? Whole corner. She got all
took it all. Didn't ask nobody how big.
That's not her fault though. I don't blame her.
Y'all didn't send no dimensions.
If you don't send me dimensions, I'm bringing whatever I got.
So she said, everybody was like, "Oh my God, we're not gonna have enough space because everybody got a table." She was like, "Table? Have y'all seen my business? What are we talking about here?" And then she's like, "Well, there was no dimensions mentioned." And so I'm sitting here looking like, oh God, this already looking real. And just how, the beginning of it, I'm looking at the setup. I'm like,
girl say, I be an Essence.
But that's what they did her wrong, first of all. They did her so wrong. They only invited her because Mel said no. Yes. And they needed somebody with some star power to, and the only reason why they were begging Mel, it's so crazy how it's like they hate Mel so much, but they know at the end of the day, she's the one that's gonna bring the people.
Yeah.
She's the one. So she said no. So then you ask Stormy and her husband, cool. And even Martell was like, she the backup, she the last minute addition. Like, even Martell.
I would have asked Martell to bring She by Sheree and bring some sweatshirts.
Right. Some
joggers. Girl, like Candy tell her, she still got that website up, and she said, Candy said, I've been trying to buy product from you for the last couple of years, and so, the website still ain't working.
I feel like Stormy already had the short end of the stick coming in last minute. So she like, and this is also another reason why Mel said, no, I'm not just going to attach my brand that I've worked years. Like Melody is really making a lot of money as a motivational speaker and host, and
she's on a $1,500 masterclass right now, and it's like sold out.
And it's so like she makes so much money to where it's like, if I go do this for free for the community, then everybody's gonna be hitting me up.
Start expecting me to do other things for free.
You did the Black Expo,
and it's a brand, and I'm with her. Like, you're paying me for my time and my star power. I think you should pay me to be here. If you want me to pay for a booth, like I'm starting on the ground, like I'm a little vendor down the street.
It gets even worse when you get into the weeds of what Tisha and Marceau was actually saying.
Trash.
So the fact was that it wasn't that they weren't getting sponsorships, so that makes it even worse. So Melody is saying, I'm the one that even asked y'all about sponsorships, and first y'all say y'all wasn't gonna have none. Then you come to me and said, okay, we like your idea of sponsorship, so we're gonna have some people sponsor the event, but we're not gonna use none of that money for you. So then my third question,
where the money at?
Kimmy is saying, so you think we dumb? So you got people sponsoring this. You're not shelling out no money from your businesses.
They're talking about it to pay for the event.
Future events.
Pay for what?
Melody said,
people are paid to be a part of it. What
event have you ever sponsored of mine? So how am I gonna trust that in the future? Let's say I do this event, and then I'm like, okay, y'all, remember that money we said we had? Let's do it for this, and y'all look at me and say,
no.
What money?
That money gonna go towards their events.
And then the branding that people don't understand. They called it the Black Expo, and we thinking, black. No, black like their business. QUE.
Exactly. So it looked like they sponsored it.
Yeah.
So you put in a comeback group in small at the bottom of the flyer.
Bye. Listen, everybody tricky. I would have not been a part of it. First of all, I'm not paying you $100 for. And you see, Stormy, I'm Stormy. I'd be insulted too. Marcel, don't you come to me and ask me for some $100. Where my $100 at? When you see the only reason why people are coming for my product, I wouldn't even put my product in certain stores. But I'm coming to y'all little rinky dink Black Expo to sell products.
Worse is Stormy said the reason why she was really mad is because those products that she was bringing, that was a gifting suite. She wasn't selling those products.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Stormy, like she made a post, like she was she wasn't selling those products. All of those products in her that was a gifting suite. So I'm giving out thousands of dollars worth of money.
She shouldn't have done that.
And you come to me
that's
for
$100. I wouldn't have done that. And they're trying to fill a major order for a major retailer at the same time, which is why she didn't have support. Girl, you too big time for this. Here's my thing. You also got to know when you outgrow stuff. You are not. You don't need to do something. And I know you was trying to help out a friend, but I'm even more
reality TV show game. You get paid per episode. Yeah, you gotta do. It's a reality TV game. She trying to get her standing on the show. Courtney got his first little solo scene. Like they're trying to like work their way into the show, so she sacrificed.
Yeah, but that was a mess. Yeah, Marcel, don't you come to me and ask me for my $100. I am a multi-million-dollar business.
First of all,
I'm the only one that deserves to have a big up in here. Are you?
We talking about $100? What are you going to do with this $100? It's $100
right now. What you gonna do with it right now? That couldn't wait. What do you need for that to pay for what?
The thing is, and what like I be reading, sometimes I be putting on subtitles because I be wanting to catch some stuff. The thing that also made me mad when he went to Tisha was like, we need to ask her for $100. Tisha was like, we ain't never told them that. And then what even made me more mad, she said, black in the bottle, chocolate in the bottle. We didn't put up no money.
Exactly. So what
she said that out loud.
Right.
I'm done. Okay, done with the ghetto Black Expo. I hope that the people who went was blessed with some information on how to start a business. Outside of that, it was
clearly
ghetto.
Not.
It was very ghetto.
They're not running it right.
Yeah, that would have frustrated me. Y'all know how I am with procedures and process, and when stuff ain't filled out or it feels like I need a sheet of what I can and can't do, and then I'm over here thinking I'm showing out for your event, and you telling me it's too big. I'm packing up my stuff and I'm going home.
Asking me for $100.
I'm going home. And her stuff looked good. She actually made it look nice. She actually made it look like, y'all know how like you go to Vegas for like shows? Like, you know how like when they have like, so like you have a whole setup.
That girl is used to real expos. That ain't no expo. That was some.
And they over here talking about something.
That ain't no expo. That's an expo.
What is this?
Expo.
What? Okay. We see you, Stormy. Go ahead and continue.
Then my question is, side note, what business Martell had?
He ain't got none.
What's the booth?
Oh no, he's selling his wine, remember?
Where that wine at? Where's it selling?
But he making clothes too, right? Suits.
Oh yeah, and then he got the suits, the tailors. But I think the wine
Martell
is
bring the
mainly
women.
his thing.
Martell is Sheba Sheree.
All he gotta do is sit there and meet people. That's it. That's all they can do.
He's selling pictures.
Yep. That's
shirtless pictures, signing stuff. The women.
Maybe he got a men's calendar. I don't know, but he got something.
Oh yeah, that too.
But
the children's book.
Oh yeah, the children's book. There you go. He got a few things. Jasmine, you got it.
Never seen none of them.
Throwing stuff at the walls and see which one bites.
I ain't seen nothing.
I mean, even Melody selling her little skincare product. We don't know why I don't know who made her the expert in skincare, but it's selling out. So,
but you know, it's like Kenya Moore hair care, y'all. I was in Sally's the other day.
They said that stuff is really good.
No, but let me tell you, I was in Sally's, and y'all, I don't live in a black area per se. It's ethnic, but it ain't black. Girl, I went to Sally's. They had the Kenya Moore hairline. I was like,
yeah.
Okay, sis.
Sally just don't be letting anybody up in her store.
True, right. She's on the shelf.
I was happened to be on YouTube looking at reviews and stuff, and a couple people reviewed her products and said it's really good.
Okay.
All right, I'm not gonna try it.
I'm good.
I take their word for it.
Yeah, but that's what's up. Go ahead. Listen, I'm down for people using their platforms and creating businesses. That's the whole reason, the whole purpose. Yeah. You should do a show like this. Should be to do businesses.
Man,
but that would look really good.
I'm coming up with 30 million I'm
trying to be
I'm trying to be Bethany. I'm trying to sell a skinny girl.
Listen, that skinny girl line was the smartest thing that I think any housewife has ever done. Ever done. Skinny Girl products was fantastic, and I still love their raspberry dressing.
Vinaigrette
is amazing. Yes, it is amazing. Okay, Bethany knew what she was doing.
What's that girl? LVP.
Oh yeah.
I love me. Listen, I'm trying so hard for when I go to LA to go to SIR. I want to go to SIR. I don't care about pumps. I want to go to SIR. I want to try them goat cheese.
I'm not gonna lie. Me and Ramai went to her one in Vegas.
It was fire. And you know what? She's also a designer. She's an interior designer in her own right, and so I just want to experience.
Well, it looks like her house. It looks like it looks like her house.
Yeah,
it looks like her house. Yeah,
can't wait. But okay, so getting back to Huntsville, last thing we're gonna discuss before we move on to our new fave, Detroit.
The best show.
Let's talk about the baby blues, Mandy. Let's talk about Stormy.
Okay, I am posing this question to y'all because, of course, I don't have kids. I don't know how these conversations go, what even entails. But I never thought about what would happen if you, as the wife, have one kid, you always wanted a big family, you got enough money and resources and land and business and family that come stay with you to have as many kids as you want, and your husband says no more kids, I just want this one and I'm not changing my mind. How can you move? How?
I feel like those are conversations.
This is something you should have had before you got married.
I was just about to say these are conversations you already
have. And here's the thing, Mandy. I think that is a natural conversation when two people are starting to get real serious with each other.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, we need to have a conversation about kids.
But people always think you could change. Okay.
No, you can't.
But listen, okay, this is my thing though, because even now I'll say I want 3 kids, but that might change. I might not want 3 kids. I might have 1 kid and be like,
Well, I think it depends too. So at first, the reason he was saying he didn't want to have another kid was because she had a very difficult delivery.
That's true. Health issues.
And so if that is the case, then I totally get it because I had a difficult not necessarily delivery, but into my pregnancy. So I get it. Not wanting to put your body through that, or not potentially, wanting to lose your spouse, because we know as Black women, we are a lot more likely to die in childbirth than, our other counterparts. So I definitely do get that. But I'm with Marla and Jasmine. No, that outside of that needs to be a conversation that we have.
And let's talk about it. He went a little bit further though. His reason was he went deep, and it took his mom. It took his mom to really bring more of it out. So we also find out that, and I don't even think Stormy even realizes this because they didn't show him opening up to her about this. But
next week
he had a really terrible. His dad wasn't around.
Yeah.
And he had a bad relationship with his dad, and he's nervous about being a father. He wants to make sure he doesn't end up like how his dad was, but I think that's also catapulting the reason as to his fear of being a parent. And you know what? That's a real thing. What people don't realize is, it's cute to hold a baby, but you're responsible for this life until the day you die. And there is a worry that comes along with that. That is I hope that I am doing everything right to bring a prosperous, we talk about mental health, and some of the things some traumas that we may have experienced, we're trying to do better for our kids. It is an ever-changing thing to even impact one kid, right? So I also I get his perspective. I don't think though it's 100% fair to shut the conversation down.
Yeah.
He has a right to his perspective, but I do think there's more conversations that need to be had, at least more explanation as to the why. To your point, she had a really tough pregnancy. And a lot of women, a lot of Black women, which is why I'm grateful I just found me a Black OB, y'all, in Portland.
Come on.
She's amazing. And she is Zeta. Yes.
Come on, Black Girl Magic.
But it's important for us to advocate for ourselves and to have healthcare providers who know what to look for in Black women during these times. I can't say that enough. And so because of that, he was probably, you don't know what he went through, with the trauma that he went through with her being on the table, with her going through this experience, to where he's like, I can't do that again.
But
that's not his reason though.
And that's still a cop out because she said surrogate.
Exactly. Yes, so what he's also saying is he's very.
Just don't want to get no, and then he said no to surrogate. So
because he said he don't want somebody else to carry his baby, and you do have some people who still are not up to today.
He don't want no more kids.
Tell her the truth. He just don't want no more kids. And he didn't just say that.
More conversations need to be had. I do think I think they need to continue the conversation. Stormy wants another kid.
Shoot, let mama tell it. Daddy ain't want me.
He didn't, and that's why we're 9 years apart.
Look at God.
I'm just saying, like, she didn't have another one right away. It took 9 years to convince him, like, okay, we're gonna do this again, right? Yeah. And I think in marriage, like, that's what people fail to realize. Like, so many people call it quits so easy, but marriage is compromise. And sometimes as you are giving up something that you know,
I'm with you, Mandy.
it's ever evolving and ever changing, and considering the other person's feelings. And a baby is not something you can half do. Either you do it or you don't do it.
Hey,
and so if one person is saying,
"Let's go half on a baby."
Yeah, right, I'm gonna have my half, and you don't got to worry about it. Like
that's scary about that is if y'all don't come to the same page, one or the other is gonna have resentment. One gonna have resentment for having a baby, or one gonna have resentment if you don't have a baby. So it's like,
but I think there's some real. But this is. I will tell you, I have some friends who have had a very similar scenario in real life, but one of them is experienced really serious mental health issues, and they're struggling already with one kid. But then you have the other one that's like, I'm not getting any younger, and either we make this decision now, or I don't know if I'm going to be able to. But knowing that this could cause this person to have a mental breakdown, what do you do?
No, we ain't gonna be able to do that.
I don't know.
So this is what I'm saying. Like,
I don't know if
I had these conversations before.
I mean, like me and Ramona.
Yeah, but even before, you don't know that, you know, you were going to have a mental health situation that make you change your mind about having kids. Well, also people don't take into consideration is postpartum depression. In this situation, you have the male that's saying no, but in a lot of situations, it's
the woman
where the woman was like, postpartum was so real for me that like I can't fathom having a second one. Because I don't know if you're going to get your wife back if you make me have a second one from a mental perspective.
Which is understandable.
Yeah. Right? So, like, I think some things can be planned.
But it's like, if you could talk about it, you could say these things. You could say.
And life changes.
Like, me right now, like, my heart of hearts, I want 3 kids. That's me right now. But I could have, but I don't know. Like, I feel like.
Yeah,
I do. I want to have like a full house. Like, I don't know. Like, I've grown up like like we said, me and Marla are 9 years apart. We literally grew up in 2 separate households. Like,
facts.
We didn't have that. Like, you know, oh, I'm going to my sister's room. We was fighting. Like, we was 9 years
old. A 1-year-old and a 9-year-old. Come on.
Yeah, like I was thinking I'm grown. She like, girl, you doing too much. It was just.
I was there. I remember.
Yes,
I was about to say
we was there.
I want to have kids because I want my kids to like grow up together, and then it's like, but I feel like it's a bigger conversation because I have this conversation with my friends. I feel like in my age group now, it's like a weird conversation because we like, okay, we after 25 now, not married, don't want kids right now, but then it's like
wrong with that.
But then you see the things. But you see the things of like women can't get pregnant, and what if I want?
But you don't let that control you. You can't let fear control your decisions because you may be somebody that's scared and end up being super fertile and ain't gonna have no issues at all. And here's my thing: and this is just the God faith in me. I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
And if I was meant to have this one kid. Like I was meant to have this one kid. Like as much as you know, when me and Darian decides that you know we want to have a second kid, and if that doesn't come into fruition, I'm not gonna be mad about it.
It's gonna be grateful for the one that you
have. I'm grateful for the one that I have, and I think too many people get caught into this is what I want versus sometimes you just gotta let
your plans.
Like our steps are ordered. Don't let me start preaching. Our steps are ordered.
But see, this is why I feel like I'm not there mentally because I would literally be upset with God for the rest of my life if I just never have a kid.
You wouldn't. And here's the
you'll
thing.
Find another way to live.
You'll find a different way, and your journey may not be everybody's journey.
Like Dr. Jackie just did.
You know what? And like, here's the other thing that I love that companies are doing. Here's my HR hat. You know, Nike has a lifetime benefit right now of $25,000 for employees to go towards fertility benefits.
Yeah,
a lot of other companies are also doing the same thing, where they're actually using it as a benefit to pay.
That many people
you can get your eggs.
Issues.
You can get your eggs. You know, there's so many different things, and no, it's not, because like I said, if you let fear control your life, you'll never do anything
forever. Yeah,
you know, you got to get to a point of out of your anxiety and get to a place of like, whatever happens is meant to happen, and just pray, like pray about what you want and see if God meets your need with that. And if it doesn't happen in that way, know that your journey was meant to be something different, and that's okay. But 25 is young. There's women right now. I have friends right now who aren't married at 35 and 36. And they're like, I need to really make some decisions on if I'm ever going to have a kid. Like, what does that look like for me?
A lot of women
at 25, Mandy, girl.
No, I'm not saying no. Y'all
but just your friends, like your friends.
We're all having these conversations now where it's like, okay, like we live in life is lit, and we love it.
As you should.
You know, like, is that something we should even think about? Because like, y'all two-edged swords, like, because you got people that's young popping out babies that I see on Facebook,
but they can't take care of them,
exactly.
And they got baby daddies,
and that's
baby
another thing for me
trying
too,
to co-parent, and it ain't working.
I want to be financially stable. I want to
Absolutely.
be married with a home, with a property. I want those things.
That's your plan.
Daycare.
I can't. Daycare ain't no punk. Daycare ain't.
It just costs too much to breathe. I feel like right now.
So think about it this way too. So as someone who had multiple fertility struggles, you know, I did fertility drugs 2 rounds, and I didn't get pregnant. 2 rounds, we did not get pregnant, and then we did, like 6 months later. When I was like, all right, well, I guess we're just not gonna have no kid. It's just gonna be me, Darren, and Nandi, and that's what it's gonna be, and that's okay.
But a lot of stories, that's what a lot of people say.
A lot of people say that too. It's like when you just let it go of the stress,
you're not tripping off of it.
Yeah, that's when it happens,
and it worked out fine. And I was 32, 31. So,
and here's an anomaly. I got married at I feel like a young age, and everybody kept asking me, Marla, when you're having kids, You did get married. I told Darian, I was like, there's a lot of things on my list that I still want to do. I don't even want to start talking about us having a kid until 30. If you're good with that, we can get married. We had this conversation before we got married. And I was like, I'm not the girl that's like going to want to jump. If you want to start a family right away, like, I need you to understand that's not going to be on my list. My list in this moment is I wanted to finish my master's degree. I was still climbing up in my career. There was still a lot of things that I wanted to check off first. And I was just like, no, like, I wanted to still be about me, because I also know that when I have a kid,
it's going to be about them.
It is not going to be about me anymore. And I don't want to be that person that's like trying to struggle. I struggle on a daily basis trying to find time for me in this moment, let alone me trying to go back to school, trying to like, and let me say, Jasmine, you a real one, because this girl over here just finished her master's degree as a single parent. And I can barely, with the help, be looking like, I don't even understand. I can't even wrap my brain around how you were able to accomplish that. So shout out to the single mother. Shout out to Jasmine.
Please.
We at least have help. Y'all out here are like, y'all are really implementing and raising kids, good, healthy kids, and still figuring out ways to, you know, do things for yourself. But I say all that to say, like, it's a conversation. Like, it's a real conversation that you have with your partner in that moment and say, hey, I know you want 2 kids. I want 2 kids. And I'll even tell you this. Me and Darian was like 2 and 2. But we also, after we had Marlo, we was like, you know what?
That's what I'm saying. When you have one, I'm telling you, you have all these plans. You know, these kids get here, you be like,
just be all right.
Yes.
You know, the only thing that I go back and forth on is, to your point, Mandy, like, I would love for her in the world to just have, you know, another sibling or something, you know. But if I'm being selfish with the way our lifestyle is, you know, finding time, we are both booked and busy and running, and our careers are not easy, you know, and I'm still just trying to be a good mom coming home, checking into job number 2, which is being mama and being patient and giving her time while I'm still like dealing with the high stresses of my job. So to add a second kid to that is like, how would that look? And I think it's just having a real conversation. So I think Stormy and her husband, they need to keep having conversations. It can't just end with one person just saying I'm done. It has to be like, we
should be crying at the end of every
conversation. She's a crier though. She's really emotional.
That girl be going.
She's a crier
when they talk about it.
But I think she also needs to open up and get him to express more into what is his fears and his concerns.
Or maybe she needs to talk about what's so important to her about having a second kid. Maybe
she was a slut.
She was the only child.
She got a ranch.
She was the only child. She got. It was just her and her mom. It's like you're the only child.
That's true. That's a good. I feel that.
Yeah.
And I feel like,
so I mean, I understand it, but at the same time, like when you are in a marriage, it's not.
But how you grow up really affects everything in your life. Like, because I feel like the opposite, like Ramad, he has 5 other brothers and sisters. So for him,
he know what it's like to have to share and all.
Yeah, he's like, it's cool. He be telling me like, it's cool. I mean, I love my siblings, but like, it's cool. It's not all that. And I'm like,
that's what he's trying to tell you. I don't know what you're talking about.
It sounds fun to me. I don't know.
But again, it's like we always want what we didn't have. But sometimes it's like you need it. For me, it's like I just want.
You always want what you don't have.
Someone else in the world to be family for her. And like, you know, if I can help it, like God forbid anything happens to our parents, Mandy, like we at least have each other.
Yeah.
I don't want Marlo to feel like when me and Darian are gone, that it's just her. And that's where
like she would be the one kid that would be okay with being the only kid.
You're right, though. Marlo is real.
She would actually probably be like.
She talks in third person to make it very clear that it's Marlo's things. Yeah. Marlo's car, Marlo's food. And I'm like, well, what about mommy? She's like, Marlo.
Yeah.
Get your own crap.
She really is. Y'all, I'm dealing with something here, okay? But no, just to go back to Stormy, I just think in that relationship, people got to give room for people to grow. And like, if you're with someone for a long time, you're not going to be the same person you were. I'm not the same Marlo when I first got married. Oh my God, I am so different. And you got to give people room to grow and to change and still love them in spite of and care enough to learn the new them. To move your marriage forward. And once you stop trying, that's the hard part. Or some people like don't even want to acknowledge the person is different until it's too late. And then they're like, oh, we grew apart. No, you should have been growing with that person to, you know, to relearn them and to re-engage them in the situation. So this is a growing pain for them. They're going to have to figure it out. That's really what that's my take on it.
Woo! Marriage seems too hot for me. So
marriage is real, man, but it could be the most amazing, like fun. Like if you're in a good marriage, like Darian is truly my best friend. So like I come home and it's like, yeah, that's like, you know, we can't wait to tell each other like, oh, I can't wait to tell you like, oh, this happened. Like, you know, if you meet the right person, if you're in a marriage with the right person, you are fulfilled. And I think that could be another conversation for another day. But
these people don't get fulfilled.